Hello, hello, hello. This is VOS coming to you now from the great state of North Carolina, USA, from Surrey, England, and from Canada, where the production is taking place. Or the producing, but so nice for seeing you again today on Sunday, July 6th, 2025. So I hope we will get some nice things, them or interesting things for not only talk about, but for listen to. And we'll get some contribution in terms of ideas and suggestions and objections to make. It's always a pleasure for you on a voice, for see on a comments, and for discuss the matters there. But to win the matters of, they are not only trending, but they are matters of national interest. That's why we pick on them. My able colleague here, Mr. Mengot, is a fine, extraordinary analyst of topics and ideas. So we'll go through that during the week for make sure say we're not bore with issues we may not be of interest to una. But at times, of course, we'll come up with issues where una may not be interested in because they happen also now, but they are important to the country and to the people, but you may not know it at the time. So we just the ask una le una just and give una ears or una yes, and let we all get into this together. So today, last week when we make a presentation, we numbers will not be the work. Now be just the WhatsApp number and in the work. So for those of una where they call from the toll-free number, both England, Australia, and North America. So with the putting on notice say that may not work, or those numbers may not work. So the WhatsApp number is the most reliable number when a 1343 997 5828 1343 997 5828. That's the number number one for call. We could be at no expense to una, regardless of who's on a day. And for the one that we didn't have Freetown, sometimes we happen for the drive, or you didn't have somebody else in place, or you don't get your telephone, or you don't get telephone, but you didn't have somebody who get a tablet, or a computer, when I can download the VOS app. The VOS app, when I forgot at the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store for download the VOS app. When you download them, you will be able to tune in to 91.9 FM, and you will be able to reach we. The reason why that is important, without the VOS app, if you try and look, make a display for una, some of the symbols them, of the apps them, so when I go find it easy. If we not download the app, what might happen is that if you tune in, particularly if you did North America, if you did Canada, you did America, you did Mexico, you tune into 91.9, almost every city or every state in America gets 91.9 FM. Without the app, you go now the wrong 91.9, which would say. So that's why it's important for download the app, therefore be able to get Freetown. And when you get the app, you will hear Freetown very clearly, like how you do hearing me now. So I encourage you now greatly to please and do that if you want to hear we on the radio, particularly if you're in the Western area. It will be very helpful. We also have, of course, several platforms then within the carry we too. If you go on YouTube, you go on VOS Television, you can go on Facebook, VOS Television, you can go on X, when used to be Twitter, VOS Television, you go to VOS Television website, when a VOStelevision.com, or even the radio is VOS radio website where you will say VOSradio.com. Okay, we also get we get Twitch TV when a VOS television as well. In addition, we get this diaspora fundraising platform too, where we always ask for donate to for help needy. needed children were in school, not to health. This is not purely for educational purpose, to my understanding. I may be wrong, maybe I characterize the wrong way. But now for able picking them, we get the physical and mental ability for do well in school, but if there is no financial backing for couple with their abilities, then they for be able to proceed. So we want to make una so then we call it the Diaspora Helping Hand Mission. So it's a non-profit organization. So we get what you call the Diaspora Scholarship Program. So it's vosdiaspora.org. vosdiaspora.org. So we go like for encourage a lot of people for please make contribution, no matter how small, no matter how much. So please try for make we help them people in there, because again we believe say not to everything that government for do. Government get tremendous responsibility we know they hold them lightly for, but we also think we for pitching we only help based upon what we would do so, and which you not where they under where they listen, where they take up the time, because everybody in time is valuable. Anybody where they listen to we at this moment could have many other things they could be doing at the same time, but then choose for listen to we. So we greatly appreciate that. It tells us on our interest in others and what you want to do for the community we will all love so dearly. May not believe in all this phrase, Mama Salone, Papa Salone, Uncle Salone, Granny Salone. Let our actions speak. Let the actions speak. It's easy for talk about Mama Salone. It remind me of somebody where this woman, when a man tell her how he love her so much, you say, I love you so much. Now you say, well, you know, they show me say you love me, because if you do, kiss me one time, I can know say you love me. So we need for kiss Mama Salone one time. If we really believe so love and not for there at distance, say, hey, I love you, which is what we do most of the time. With actions, then the betray, we say we not care for the country at all. We just care for ourselves individually. You know, so let we put words into actions, rather more so than we put the actions them into words. You know, you just talk, but you know to do nothing. Back with actions, then with words, then with actions. So with that said, I'm a co-presenter today as usual. I'm Mr. Victor Mengot. I keep making that mistake there because I know someone with the name Mengot. And now to go present, and I'm sure he needs no introduction. So let me turn on over to Mr. Mengot. Mr. Mengot, back to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Family in Akusho, and I'm glad for can join in today. Last week I not been there because I've been there on other duty for support with women in a salon. My sister school, the Fisgians, the FSSG, then they prepare for the 100 year. So as a live patron, I will support them. But I don't come back today, and I'm glad for meeting her. And as to say, in a salon, Maxwell, in phrase we can use from this talk we can talk, no kapu sense, no kapu word. Why encouraging all for join we, challenge what they say, contribute for the promotion of Mama Salone, and follow all Papa government. Because we get Mama Salone, we get Papa government. Mama Salone look like now we get problem at Mama Salone would go talk say Mama Salone. But the person where they cause the problem for winner Papa government. So now then two people and they will get for deal with. So as usual, no greeting all. Bunde Sawana Kuma when you in Piari, Jarama, Wali Benda. Well, to we with the English, good evening, good morning, good night, wherever you are. So we come again today. We can present a lot of things. As you see, today we always talk about governance and accountability. What's in a governance? Governance now how we they treat with people, the systems, the institutions, the people that are in charge will make life better for for people to take advantage by others. Accountability. We got politician them, we got parliamentarian them, we got judges them, we got police them. How then they behave, we got for all them accountable. So now that's we program they. And usually we they go on the trending news na social media because they spend lots of time do research, seeing the way people are concerned about issues them. Some can be national, some can be regional, some can be international. So with that, I want passing over to my co-presenter like introduce the topic today we want to deal with. Because we get boku thing at the Shukublai today. And I should say then thing and go interesting. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mengot. Of course, as Mr. Mengot indicates, the general topic today will be Salone governance and accountability with the exploiters. It will involve land, investment, and citizenship deals under scrutiny. In other words, we want to scrutinize some of the issues about how to become citizen in relation, or how people are becoming citizen, or the laws about citizenship in relation to the overall well-being of the country. So we will start today with the transparency issue, where subtopic number 1 will be managing with land, and with resources, and the Land Commission Act, which Mr. Mengot will deal with extensively. We deal with ownership of land and ownership of land, private ownership as well as government ownership and community ownership. We'll therefore deal with then 3 aspects of land ownership, because it's beginning to look like the trend. There is a lack of understanding by the authorities as to what government owns and what government doesn't own. And we will definitely get back. We'll be touching on the issue of this land condemnation, and waiting a government in responsibility and the obligation to the people them. We own and privately, we own the land, and which land are government land, and so on and so forth. And how do we resolve differences? If government claims to own a land, because government is not the person. Now, individuals then within the government, the permanent secretary, the minister of lands, and some top officials then where they proclaim certain areas or lands to be governments. They too are not above reproach, or they are not above accountability. So if they claim any piece of land in the name of the government, where an individual who has constitutional protection say in land, then an issue right away is raised, an issue of controversy. And when there is an issue of controversy, we must have a civil process whereby that matter they should be resolved without either party, not the government, not the individual, taking matters into their hands. But waiting with the see they happen on the trend in Sierra Leone, which we forgot against, because if we not do that, we hurt ourselves. Because there are some people who think, say, hey, if SFPP do it's okay. What's wrong with that? You can listen to one of Mr. Kabo in shows them, where somebody called, I think that one of the in dedicated listeners then, he say, oh, let Sierra Leone win the World Cup. You know, President Biono will get praise. The women still do this. So people will find the reason why we not win the Olympics or something like that. I think that person need to look at things in the wrong way. You know, because he's taking things in the wrong. I mean, if you are in the government, you are supposed to do everything right. That's the expectation. So if you do 8, you do 1 very badly, you're still subject to criticism. We don't have to praise you for the 2 bad way you handle things. That has to be highlighted. That's the whole thing about governance and government. You see, because perfection is expected. And when perfection is not done, you must give accountability as to why things didn't go the way they are. You know, we say the government built 10 bridges. Because 2 collapsed, we not praise the government for the 8, we not collapse yet. Now the 2, of course, it's newsworthy to talk about what happened. Was there negligence? Why the other two? Because we don't expect, say, any bridge for collapse when in Bilam. This is not the way you look at things what government do. So when I would think, say, for the praise government, the government don't need any praise. People have intelligence. You can see that. You can know what in government will do for now. So now when adequately address the issue, now it make you get this urge for force this understanding in the minds of people for say, oh, that's the road then that this president make, and that road then that president, and this is another error what would they make. Very few roads are started and then they end with the same presidency. Very few. A lot of times the project will start on one. That's what government is about, continuity. We just get for be honest to ourselves. So we will not need for the ascribe or subscribe praise to one particular president or government. But if you want to take upon yourself or give credit, give it to those who earn it, not give it to one over the other. The one who start them should get just as equal praise as the one who end them. Because otherwise, we don't go around government right. Because every president will want to start and finish in your term, even if the project calls for much beyond in presidency. So we get for talk about all engineer, I make we just understand. So sometimes when it appears as if one is being critical, of some kind of activities, it's just because we are just trying to let people know we don't want to hold the government lightly. It's a job we not for take lightly because it's a heavy duty job. Now, only in like we own country, we say for going to government and for play, and for get fun, for becoming parliamentarian. But when we say government, we talk about parliament, we talk about the judiciary, we talk about for being minister, all in there. But that's we no more things. So where you go into government, now play. Now forget car, and for letting call you honorable. But you're not going to do anything honorable. You get to do every dishonorable thing, but then for call you honorable. But government is serious business. And the first thing, if you're not a thin-skinned person, if you're not a person who can take critical comments, you don't belong there. If you're not a person who no one get good ideas, you not belong there. So these are some of the things. So me does say, please. So when I check, I'm in that spirit today. This is they say what would they say about everybody. So now we'll go past to Mr. Mengot. We're going to tell you about this act. Like I say, what we get for look when the act where Parliament passed, the Land Commission Act of 2022. Then we will go step by step, and we'll talk about diamond lease or mining lease and all of that. So, Mr. Mengot, back to you, sir.
Well, thank you very much. I think the reason why we say Sierra Leone is a country of law, and I can tell people and say from all my experience working in different parts of the world, we get law them, we're up to date. We get law them, we're fit for purpose. What you lack now the institutional setup for administer the law and the sincerity of the people them who are put in charge. It can be the regulatory authority, it can be the minister, it can be even with parliamentarian. So this land issue not to today begin. Land issue don't start from even the colonial days. But that makes sure we can get the Land Tenure Act. And that act they may not abolish them. But not to that one go too over that, because that Land Tenure Act now been an act where divide the country into the colony and the protectorate, whereby the colony now which we call now the Western region, and the protectorates now the other parts them after Songo to the rest of the country. So government feels say, well, look, this land issue is Boku, and we waiting at the diaspora, Boku of we don't get land problem. So government come with a brilliant law when the Land Commission Act, National Land Commission Act 2020. The act na legislation will look at the key issues them na the act na one. The government established a land commission. Waiting at that land commission their responsibility. Now for oversee all land administration nationwide. So now the overall body, so that land commission, now for look at all the land, now for look at things to do with ownership of land, the different ownership. Because we get private land, we get communal land, we got also other land them where you go say na state land. So he established commission at different levels. Number one, you get the district land commission. As the name implies, land administration within the district level. They'll get local land committees. This chiefdom land committee responsible for look at land allocation and community participation. Because in other words, like in the provinces, then communal land day, then chiefdom land day, the community na then get responsibility. So now make sure where you want land na then place then day, you get for contact the traditional rulers them. Now them with the committee and then they decide who to allocate land. And one of the problem, not called problem, issue self, because you know say land you can use them as a collateral for raise parliament for raise capital. But because of that system will get na the provinces, where the land like communal land, where then they allocate them for you for use a particular purpose as a collateral for raise loans. Because they give the land for specific purpose. So we also the town, you get town and village area. The village area, especially in we rural setting, na the western region, then they come into issue. The recent Black Johnson thing we will talk about in details. Then they talk about the community rights, because the land commission, it give ownership. This community, now they get ownership of the anything, now they land in there. They therefore inform the community. Why do they inform the community? One, now for protect the environment, because whatever economic activity you want to do na the land, it got them. We see this issue where they raise now Black Johnson with the River Fish Harbour. How does that affect the area in terms of waste management, issues to do with the building, where they build, the seafront, how they manage the seafront, all that thing in it. Then we'll talk about land registry. The act will make sure say all land is registered all throughout the country in time, digitization. Land disputes, we know. We were in at the diaspora and somebody that will tell you, say, a lot of we people in don't get land problem where they take 10, 15 years for deal with. Because we don't get proper land registry, we get different claim to land. So what's in the objective of the community land? Community land, you safeguard the community land against industrial development. And we're going to talk about that. Because if you take that Black Johnson, it's land. Although, yes, you get issue where government can say they want to use land for national development, but they cannot do that arbitrarily without the consultation of the community, from the Environmental Protection Agency. You get to do environmental impact assessment. And we want to develop land, you get to look at other things like utilities, access, roads, and all. So there are so many things you find for love understand. What's in this all day pan. They also say this act now for empower local community for let's say get partner the decision making process. But today with the council video where down there on two sides. So we can do two case studies because in and see waiting the happen, why this land issue come about. So before I go, passing over to my co-host. If you want to more on some of the issues I want to raise in terms of the Land Commission Act, the relationship between the National Land Commission, the District Land Commission, the Chiefdom Land Commission, over to you, sir.
Thank you again, Mr. Mengot. Along that avenue there, some of the things we concerned about, and I'm sure we will play a video will show the demolition. As a lawyer, the troubling aspect of what I see on that video there, and the lack of clear and convincing evidence put forth by the government up till now, then does it give a verbal explanation without any documentary evidence as to, number one, for clear any doubt, and then number two, for sure say rights were not being violated, property rights particularly, but the property right linked with individual rights of ownership. Then, so as a lawyer, who means all the best for the country, and as a lawyer who really wants the poor and the poor and the poor for be protected by the law, because it's easy to forget we situation where the powerful or the gentry them get protection. But when you pass law, not to for protect the strong, now for the weak. So me want us talk about what you may see the demolition of them property here is just a little troubling. And anybody we don't see in that way, you get it right for not for seeing that way there. But I go like for let you call we show and try for justify after me to give me a reason why I think to the satisfaction of everyone, it should be done in a way. First of all, government should come show we do. Well, everybody won't know anything about land transaction. At common law and at common law with the practice back home, every land transaction must be in writing. So if the government claim ownership of any piece of land, be that as a result of inherent governmental power or something where the government purchase, then can show we documentary evidence for such they not misuse, they not overreach with them power. And that property they clearly and convincingly belong to the government. I think the government owes the country and the rest of us that. Because I just cannot see how when I go to try to tell people, oh, come on, can't invest. People work hard, particularly in America and Canada. A lot of we not to scholarship babies then. Oh, Canada, we work hard. But then we know how we left home, we decide for try for invest. So you don't want one greedy, short-sighted, narrow-minded politician because he get power, go just skip over requirements of the law and begin destroy people and property. I don't think it's good for any of we. You see, so in the interest of the country, we must hold the government accountable. So that's the reason why people like me concerned. This land use, this land act, like Mr. Mengot say, this 2022 Land Commission established law the intention was good. But I don't know if the execution of it is being done or is being consistent with the intention. And that's what we are talking about. And then we will talk about how extensive it is that things are not being followed. When they get the national commission, then get the district commission, then get the local commission, all of that sounds good. But like you say, the devil is in the detail. So how do all of these things work together without unfairness being perpetuated on the weak? Okay, so the Black Johnson video, if I might ask for control room, I'll go let them play them for we, let them see the abomination of just the act itself. You know,
Beneath the blazing sun of Black Johnson community in Ward C, dust spiraled skyward, marking the harrowing start of a state-sanctioned demolition exercise. The Davis family were in tears, having realized that their alleged property is no longer theirs, but now belongs to the state. They were in tears because they alleged that they have neither been compensated nor given an other alternative for the property they once owned.
They not talk to we will get legal land now. They not give for talk to we, no nothing. Until we hear more now see, then they can't go.
Before the commencement of the demolition exercise, the 3rd Brigade Commander of Western Area, Arslav Colonel Moriba M. Ochoa, engaged the community on the specific roles of the assigned military officers, which is limited to protecting the proposed demarcated fish harbour land.
Government don't ready for can day, the people that don't ready for can do the job. Maybe sometime in September or November.
In September.
So they don't say we can secure the place. We will have soldier them. Now order will take. We don't get flower. Nobody.
During the engagement, the Black Johnson community head woman, Awana Tubla, and other community members expressed the similar sentiment of the Davis family. Awana Tubla said they were shocked to see the commencement of the work when none of their requests has been met.
I'm crying because not development so big. That is why God has said this land
At one of the resorts that falls among the demarcated fish harbour land, the owners were in tears, pleading for some time because 5 amongst their 10 chalet houses will be demolished.
I say, I want to give it now a week, but we know what to do. If I tell you, say right now, they very safe. I no go tell you like say we will do nothing under.
Responding to the claims, the Director of Surveys and Lands in the Ministry of Lands, Tamba Dauda, said they submitted the names of claimants who submitted the document of the property and their documents were verified to be legal.
The report with some the list. The wire gets houses and they, but they not get document or the document not joining. Some of them wire gets joining documents, then documents are falsified. Some of them not for joining. Okay. So some people get joining document and not even be allowed to say. So we submit all our reports there and tell them. Then we also identify the area we fall within the foreshore.
The acting director of fisheries at the Ministry of Fisheries and Marine Resources, Sheku said they compensated those whose names were sent by the Ministry of Lands in their reports. Addressing the proposed benefit they would get as a result of the fish harbour, Sheku told the people that all of their requests would be met as per the agreement signed when the fish harbour must have been completed.
Tell you for happy. The Community Development Action Plan, schools, hospitals, water, electricity, light get for dinner Black Johnson. The project document say for clear the land for us, let the one day they can build the harbour, make sure say that land we will say government don't get. It did it.
Both Tamba Dauda and Sheku raised concern that plenty people continue to construct houses on the said property despite several warnings that the said land now belongs to the state. As the demolition exercise continues, the controversy that is yet to be resolved borders around compensation. Emmanuel Samura, SLBC.
All right. Now we don't see here again, ladies and gentlemen, if we want to run a true democracy, we put the burden on the people and say them for sure document that they own the place. Shouldn't the government itself be equally held to produce right of ownership? Because the way the government make it sound, if you can't show document for a piece of property, now government get on. By what logic, by what law, if the government no get document for a piece of land, now they own them? You see, that's one loophole that we'll get for deal with. So when they push the burden on the people and say, well, the one that will get document and show we document. Okay, well, that's another issue all by itself. But the one that will not get documents, now then property then will broke. Okay, I don't find that to be factually true, but let's assume that's what happened. Why should the burden be shifted to the people who will not present document, where government itself will get to use the extraordinary power for demolish homes, not show any right to ownership, just a gross abuse of power. So me, I don't understand that at all. Then the issue of just compensation, because still government is say, well, we compensate people. We've not seen one piece of evidence. And I think the government owes it to the people, and then they get a burden for saying, hey, these people are lying. Look at Mr. Jane, Mr. Thomas, Mr. this, Mr. that. We'll get 1,000 or 120 million leon, this and that. And get them, make it attest or make it do an affidavit, say, yeah, I received so much from the land. Government is just making outlandish statements about compensation. Then we have to determine if the compensation just. So if I get a land where worth 500 million leons, when I give me 5 million leons, yes, when I give me money, but is that just compensation for my land? Is someone else in the ministry going to take 450 million or 400 and something million and put it in their own pocket for my land when I 500 million, but now 5 million no more I get? Then how do you resolve this? People should have the right. This is what you call due process. And this is where I hold the lawyers in Sierra Leone accountable. And this is where I hold the so-called civil society accountable. When you see this massive display of injustice, una compelled by circumstances for step in, the first thing any lawyer or any group should do, now what you call injunctive relief. Lawyers, they know what you have to talk about. Go to court. Get the court, make a brief presentation of what we call irreparable harm. That the court, if you not stop this demolition right now, and let's allow deal with the fact, if you allow it to go on, I'm not can't able to come back and recoup all the damage where they suffer from the old suit and the broke. So we ask the court, without looking into the merit of the case, just stop the demolition for right now. Now, demolition should not take place because I see them talk about, I they look for the phrase where they use, where they say, state-sanctioned demolition. Who sanctions the demolition? Is it the Ministry of Lands? They shouldn't have that power. This is the thing, like our parliament still the struggle about knowing their own boundary, then get the president, they appoint clerk of parliament, the president, and supposed to have ridiculous, nonsensical constitutional setup. Then I can challenge anybody. Now, elementary setup down there of a government. President should have nothing to do with parliament, hiring, firing, administrative-wise. So we get this ridiculous situation where you get the president and they appoint clerk of parliament. Now, they determine if the clerk continue commit any misdeeds. Now, the president for determining whether a crime. Now, for determine. I mean, if you take a bunch of standard 2 picking them, you get them to write a constitution. They wouldn't write anything that's stupid. And I mean it. They will come up with something better. Anybody who know about 3 co-equal branches of government now will say a clerk of parliament should be appointed by the president. Just like how you wouldn't say the president in chief of staff or in press secretary, now the parliament for appointer. You know, now in your exclusive area down there. So we don't mix up everything. So now we get a situation with this land demolition. The minister and the ministry should have no such power. And when they order demolition, it should be ordered by a court. And why the court need to play a role now? Because now the only time that you will be able, you the owner, or you the person with the claim for get ownership, for present your case. Now the only time that the government can be held accountable for show why they didn't get the land and why they feel so they get the power for demolish your land. Now the only time the owner get the power for say, well, yeah, the government, now me get the land, the government want them, but they want to pay me peanut for me land. This is what my land worth. Then before the government, for last week, I think we'll talk about that, somebody begin to talk about, oh, government get the power for take. No, Government doesn't have the power to take arbitrarily. Government has the power and they have a burden to show that the taking or the request to purchase that land against the owner in which the government get the power. They get the power for demand for use your land for the public good. But they just can't say that. The permanent secretary just can't say that. The minister of lands can't. They have to show that clearly and convincingly in court if it is challenged. If they not meet with the landowner, that landowner, they forget the right for going to court and present evidence for say, waiting they want to be land for is not necessary because they can do another way. The government also can counter that for saying, no, we don't do survey, we don't do this, we engineer it and say this. This is what you call rule of law. It's good for everybody. What you would see now a gross abuse of power and complete lawlessness. It doesn't matter if it's government sanctioned. I mean, the government, what's the good of law if government get the power for violate laws? Now only people for comply. About who is government anyway? Now people. And because government itself doesn't work, doesn't eat, doesn't sleep, doesn't speak. Now people in a certain information are called government. So those people should be held accountable. So but when we talk about state sanctioned demolition, that in fact to me is a wrong phraseology. It shouldn't happen. State don't forget the power for sanctioned demolition. Now if there's a clear established evidence that the land belongs to the government, then somebody, likewise, you individual, you can encroach on that land there. Government get the right for give you notice for say, hey, there's an encroachment, this is government land, you're not going to write for Canada this land, then we'll give you so many days. And when you don't comply, then for going to court and get an order for demolish your property. That's good for all, it protects we all. Otherwise, you will get one minister, will not like you, so tell una meet my girlfriend, he can use the power of the government for us to destroy all your property because you get the power. Is that what we want? You never can tell where you will become a victim. Let me read a comment. Because I see them comment here. In Africa, governments just believe in praise singing and no one should object to government policies, which tells you about governance in Africa. They need to know that criticism is a wake-up call. Okay, let me say, we're not even talking about criticism here. We're just simply talking about adherence, compliance with the law, where the government themselves don't take the time, they say they go to parliament and pass, but they seem for the pass the law with the intention that only the people should follow the law, but government is above the law. Now, any law passed in parliament doesn't apply to government. Okay? So if there's a city ordinance for say you for drive a car na Shaka Stevens Street no faster than 30 miles an hour, well, the way we use government, and I'm a man of police motor car and can kind of drive 100 miles an hour, bang anybody and say, well, hey, it's government, not to me private car, a government car, I go pick the brigadier, I go pick this and that. You see, this is how society breaks down. This is how society breaks down. And this is the thing. So we are saying for the general good of society, for succeeding generations, for posterity, it's time for them people to begin to think about the unborn generation and set the right foundation. So even in the future, if you end up with an abusive leader, the institutions set up, the foundations will be so strong they will withstand abuse. But we are hurting ourselves to take them shortcut approaches they have. Let me read another comment. Politicians without integrity are the ones that entertain praise singing. Okay, I mean, some of them love praise singing. For me, they sing them as long as they comply with the law. It's about time the land tenure and the chiefdoms need 21st century reviews because the country needs development and chiefdoms lack more than setup, which is urgent. Let's stop the bureaucracy. That's true. This is for our brothers who come from up country, people who come from the districts, where they brag with all the. You get some man and get 50 PhDs, and like Professor Kutubu can say, some man they and go tell how brilliant they be, and take exam with God, then beat God on the exam. They're a very brilliant guy. But we not see, then say the taste of the pudding is in the eating. Okay, with all this PhD, come and show us what the PhD means. Implement policies and execute policies, then we'll get praise. Then we'll say, oh, this will brought I don't learn book, add the book to pay with. But it's not happening. So don't be intimidated or be impressed with all this big talk about diplomas. Like I tell people, correction to Mr. Mengot's assertion of land ownership in the provinces is governed by customary law, and land ownership is primarily owned by the family and some community as against owned by community. Well, okay, Mr. Mengot, that will be for you. I'm not going to explain that. You go explain them better than I am. So with that said, let me just go back to Mr. Mengot, because I'm just simply doing my own legal analysis and what I think the way forward for getting safe and progressive use of land is by making sure due process is applicable to everybody, to the government as well as to the people. And one more comment before passing over to Mr. Mengot. Somebody says, going to court is futile as they are under executive pressure. Governments are now colonial masters instead of the free wings of government. That is true. But let's be careful. That's a slippery slope. Going to court may be futile, but that's what we have now. So you make use of the best thing you have. You know, if now 1 foot you get, you know, they say I'm not able to run, so it's futile for make a run. When they say trouble, they come. You know, like Dr. Martin Luther King say, if you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. But by all means, keep moving. So me they say to you now, enough futile for going to court. That's what we have. Then take a battle day. You know, with time, things will get better. But for just abandon the court because I make say it's useless, I think it's a slippery slope. You see, APC became a victim of that. Where they get 7 days for object and appeal, then use the same excuse, which I found to be ridiculous by APC lawyers. Them, they should have known better, you know, because once you waive a right to file any document in court, you lose it forever, regardless of how useless that right, the exercising of that right they may be. So with that said, let me go to Mr. Mengot, because there's a lot I can criticize about the process back home, which is so antiquated and archaic. It's about time we stop all these things. With all them bookmaya, what they tell you about them brilliant lawyer they back home, let's see what you guys can do. Your brilliance is not for you people alone. Show the country. We need brilliant people and in the work so that they do, not from the mouth. Okay, Mr. Mengot, you can read the rest of the comments then and take over.
So it says so many illegal structures are being constrained in protected catchment areas, especially in the western area, but no structures in those areas are being demolished. Okay, fine. Let me go back to the person we write about, say, he explained about land. What I would like to say to that point, yes, a correction to Mr. Mengot. He said, correction to Mr. Mengot's assertion of land ownership in the provinces is governed by customary law, and land ownership is primarily owned by the family and some community as against owned by community. That last one day, I don't know what he mean, because he say owned by the family and some community as against owned by community. Yeah, probably some. What I was trying to say is that in the provinces, unlike Freetown, right, you have land that is governed by customary law. You have different ownership of land. You have private land, which could be family land. You have communal land, right? And communal land, what you mean by communal land? A land will belong to the community that is governed by both state law and customary law. Because if you look at the Land Act of itself, the Land Commission Act, Section 72, it says all communal land and natural resources shall belong to the community. You can check them. Section 72 of the Land Commission Act, it clearly defines communal land. So what I was trying to say, if I didn't come out clear, the land ownership is not unique. It is not one person that owns the land. where we have this problem, just like in Black Johnson, let's take the Freetown rural areas. Even in the Freetown rural areas, you have communal land, you have private land. And if you talk about state land are waiting under colonial times will be called crown land. And then land and some of them now for particular purpose. We get the way govern their land and they. Like for instance, the Tourism Act, we get special tourism zone. If government don't designate any land area as special tourism zone, the government own that land. But outside the problem come, it come back with the government. We know they do things right. With a structural plan for each area. What does that structural plan do? It identifies private land, which can be by plot number. It identified communal land, when the community get them. It identifies state land, which could be for special development purpose, or in cases of road construction, land which is reserved for improve the, like where you take away them in the bill, like that peninsula road. You get such a land the way they win a government get their land and they win a part of the right of way. Government they reserve their land and they, if the traffic volume increase, they want improve the lane, just like I get the Bibua road where they go on to 4 lane. Then government can reserve their land. So that is what I'm trying to talk about. But before we go down there, we don't talk about the Black Dancing. In this program, let me talk about another case study. Because I want to show people an issue. But before I go into that, I think we have callers on the line. Let me pause, let me listen to them callers they have for us. Then I will talk about one particular issue on land in the provinces when a chiefdom as against government in terms of an area where get natural resources, where there is controversy as who get jurisdiction under the land. Because as I said, Section 72 of the Land Act, it said all communal land and natural resources shall belong to the communities. Chiefdom Land Commission, where if government will allocate land to foreigners for investment, these people are not consulted and involved. But now we listen to we call as them first, then we will play the video on this issue. We deal with issue about government allocated land. We also deal with things to do with government local content policy. We also deal with things to do how we allocate resources. And you also deal with things that will they sign loans agreement as enshrined in the Constitution. So give the cue, Mr. Shilon. Now listen to caller then before we go to this next part.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mengot. Yeah, let me take at least a call. Hello, caller. Which name you call? Which name you name? Side you call from?
Yes, sir. Mr. Mengot and Mr. Shilon. Now, good evening again. Thank you very much. Yes.
Good evening.
The first thing I would do, yeah. Now for respond again to brother Hussein, because I say read that broadcast. I know say my brother they support the government from your comments, but which you they say now, it no matter who that somebody supports, but we all know say any news, the bad one, nine and it pick on. If the host day it map no more people in the sleep, he painted well, the window they fine. But as you can't broke one glass. They talk about that glass when they broke. Despite the condition of the house intact. So make the people become used to this fact, say, look, that flooding will happen at Texas. You don't take over the news. Because anyone who is in Ukraine or Gaza, they take over the news. But then they talk about the good things the way they do now, Ukraine, the rich way they export, not the about them. So that when they become used to that, when you see you say government, you don't promise say you can solve all the problems them and they expect you to do something doing a perfect job. So what is the problem if they criticize you, say, oh, people then for dance? Which is this man there so? Not in the way the Democrats then they agree with the Republicans. They always give an alternative view. Likewise in the UK. Not in the way Labour they put right now on the plate, way the Conservative or the Liberal Democrat or now the Reform UK, then they will get another view about that. That is part of the democracy we people talk about. Anyway, rather than that, just want to brother know this thing. This land problem we talk about, as long as Salone get this culture of say foreign investors, it doesn't matter. Say if the locals them invest more money than the foreign investor, as long as that foreign investor count that bulk money, we go amount to 20 million, or they don't even, it's unverified most of the times. They don't even know if you have 20 million account. So if the people and the locals them put $1 or 1 million or 500,000 or 20,000, they even pass that one day. They don't give a damn about the locals. Which they care about? Oh, they don't care about investment. Oh, they don't care about, because they look at themselves all the time as being handicapped. They cannot do anything. Will not get resources. So therefore, somebody can make a propaganda. Oh, government is popular. That is why in most of the times, then they sideline the locals them. Me, where they talking from where SLP kind of power. I don't refuse to buy land them. And don't tell me a lot of land. I know you put money on land. I know you go build houses to go broke all the government come. I know you do them. I don't refuse. They don't show me plenty land them. I know you buy nothing. Even we own town, we say come out. I don't refuse. I know you buy no land there. Because we sell land. We not stable. Now government issue, now political issue. All of these people they say go and broke their say, look the other time go broke, which side and go broke LJ that in shop or waiting. They broke in own. But there were other structures that were left untouched. So now for telling us that the way they do Nigeria, where they get political lens. The last word they want to talk about here is that we they look at say they lost them for the like Mr. Shilon talk for the weak people, for the weak in the community. Belgium get one law of encroachment. If I left me host the mods or any kind of way, somebody enter inside that host day. He enter inside that host day, I not get the right for drive that person come on that host day. I for call police, I for call the law. That person for give him 2 weeks for he left the house. That is, if they can't go this law as Salone, they say, which kind of law this? But they try to protect that person, because that person really can enter somebody who should not get outside the sleep. So it can't encroach into somebody's house. So we now, the laws they will get at the country, now for the powerful one them, you see government. Government are for the powerful people and more, not for the way they can talk, say, government, now the people that mean government. No, not that they mean as Salone. No. When I say government as Salone, now the ministers them, now the president, now the judiciary, now the police, now then be the government. You now just anything they can sweep aside at any time. Anyway, lot for you because I think one line will get. Thank you.
Okay. And then just very, very briefly, what Mr. Mustafa just said, we touched on that earlier about this whole issue about this not gonna change. Anybody is free for just, you can call, you can support which government you get in power. Or just to talk about generally what needs to serve all the people, not people of any political party like Mr. Mustafa just say. The newsworthiness of an event, now the unusual nature of the event, not to the usual. Like back home where I be there school, then you say, oh, I became one teacher. I don't know if not common saying down the back home, but I remember teacher Salone, he can say, when a dog bites a man, that's not news. It's when a man bites a dog, that's news. So the same thing now, I don't think God, if you go into power for let people in the sing praise of you. You go into power for do what you promise the people and say you will do and what is expected of you. So it's not a big deal if people focus on unusual happenings or occurrences. So government need to understand that. So when people already use this simple logic, say, well, Well, first of all, they said the president don't do such and such and such. Well, I'm not so sure if it's the president that they're doing it, but they make that same mistake even in America, because it takes the entire government to put a program into operation. Of course, the president gets the praise. If he gets the praise, then he should get the condemnation if there is a condemnation. But me just want people to understand, for say, where you make a critical analysis of a situation, it doesn't mean the government itself is a bad government. It just means that there is a certain occurrence where they're not handled, or there was a better way they could have handled things and then failed to do so. If we can get just broaden our mind a little bit and don't take this criticism about critical analysis about government as a personal thing, then we're not going to understand. This is for we're all good. Because today, if you allow government to go broke somebody in yours because you say now of course there's some phrases they might not even understand them phrases then. And we get power. Who is we? But if you say that we get power so we can broke somebody, why would you be offended if other one and get power then begin broke us? But we don't want to live like that. We want everybody to operate under the same rules. This is what people like we advocate. So when you see it happen to your neighbor, it happen to somebody you don't know, you come forward and object to that. You see, this is not the thing that we preach, and that mentality they will try to develop. But I don't want to consume too much of the time because Mr. Mengot has so much more to tell you than I do. So let me go back to Mr. Mengot.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. On this land issue, as I say, in we program, we like for show evidence. Because there's this issue of a land na Tonkolili North. That land really north. You get iron ore deposit. And before this week, we'll get it trending news. A local company, Gento Group of Companies, will not apply to government. Sorry, not to government. Don't sign a lease agreement with the chiefdom people. Obviously, they want to do prospective mining. Gento don't get agreement and everything. Then all of a sudden, this week, we see the government through the Ministry of Finance, they say they don't sign an agreement with the Chinese government. Right. Waiting at that agreement there. We be no say government be don't create what they call a mineral wealth fund. Waiting at that mineral wealth fund there. Then say government won't get a hand in mining. So that mineral wealth fund there, where they don't go sign an agreement with the China Overseas Engineering Group for hand over that land there where Gento may not get to another means to the Chinese group. And the issue, the Chinese group, they don't get supplementary agreement. And key commitments under this supplementary agreement, now for say this China Overseas Engineering Group go bring 300 million for cover mine construction, transportation, network, and beneficiation facilities. Now, if I look at it's as if we go to an agreement where involve a loan or an advance payment, which then the talk say we go pay over a period of time. But how does that come in? Two issues. One, how do you make preference over the issue of a land whereby Section 72 of the very Land Act all come to the community? So if Gento don't go get an agreement with the community, then all of a sudden government overrule and get into a Chinese company, say under the sovereign wealth fund, where then go advance money. That money where they advance now is in the form of a loan or a grant. And Section 116 of the Constitution subparagraph 3 says no loan shall be raised by the government on any other. In this case, the sovereign wealth fund, a public institution. So how government go sign the agreement today without the consent of Parliament? How does that relate to the local content rule? So for analyze all lengthy and day, we elect for bring factual evidence. We don't talk about the Tonkolili North. We can play 2 videos then. The first video, now waiting at Gento is how government, in a way, so we go where? If according to the law, communal land and natural resources belong to the community and community get Gento, and then government can with a sovereign wealth fund, so then go take over the land. Now, followed by a second video where the paramount chief petition Parliament will decide. So we're going to look at issues there for deal with ownership and right of land, obtaining loan without the consent of Parliament, and this new thing we'll see as petition process. So now play the technical view. Now start first with Gento in your video. Then we'll talk.
Well, I call this press conference mainly because there's a public notice from the Sierra Leone Mines and Mineral Development and Management Corporation where they released today with me facing not correct, you understand? And myself, as my company, Gento Group, a registered company in Sierra Leone, call the press conference to make things clear. Some people here make a public notice out, where first of all misleading. And waiting that they say we're not correct, it's very clear that now they get the exclusive right, them alone. Yeah? Let me read this, the 3rd paragraph first of all. The 3rd paragraph reads, accordingly, the general public, all investors, government agencies and stakeholders are hereby informed that the Tonkolili North Iron Ore deposit located at Sula Mountain and encompasses the iron body of Kasafoni is under the exclusive legal authority of the corporation, which alone is empowered to determine, manage, and authorize any development or mining activities related to the asset. That is completely wrong. So what do we get the Ministry of Mines for? You understand? What do we get? That's deceiving. Yeah? They don't get no exclusivity like that. We have the Ministry of Mines. We have the enemy. You understand? We have the EPA. You know what I mean? These are bodies and these are government institutions where you want to go for license, you must go for your environmental license. You EPA license. You forget them. Yes, you forget them. So you want to tell me say exclusively, we not go for that one day? You know, this is wrong. And the other thing that you know what I mean? Them people here, they go further, yeah, and make certain claims were completely wrong. Completely wrong. Like this one I don't mention. You understand? Me not believe say, yeah, any parliament will give somebody exclusive right. Usai Ministry of Mines Day and other government agencies like EPA Day and other government bodies there were related and mandated for issue license. If you go right now at the NMA website, yeah, that mineral deposit website, yeah, it tells you clearly Tonkolili North is vacant. Nobody will get license for them. All other licenses and then at the website. Nobody will get license for them. Me, na registered company in Sierra Leone, me na Sierra Leone and buy back. Yeah, I get the right, yeah, for buy land and own land na Salone. Fine, I know the claimer. I go and get lease agreement with the people who own the land. I go and get a lease agreement with the people that will own the land. And then people that will own the land, that then give me the lease. And the lease will then give me, they tell me, say, you get right to this land for the next 25 years. Now, it is very clear. Now, the people that then get the land, the loan as Salone, so you say, yeah, are you the council now? Me don't tell you, say, me don't get license for the land. Not to say, I say, what I say, I don't get lease agreement for the land. Are you never contest me lease agreement for go say, nobody not for deal with me, no government entity, no investor not for deal with me. That's a malice. That's a malice. Process is, number one, yeah, you get to make sure say you're a registered company in Sierra Leone. Number two, you not for be a company where don't bankrupt. You understand? And number three, you for go and get a lease agreement, different among others then. These are one of the few things that I mentioned. But particularly so, you for go and get a lease agreement with the landowners then. Me don't get that land lease agreement there. You understand? These are Parliamentary, these are reputable people. The whole community, journalists, and they will go to me there and everything. The people, as far as they know, the land is free. Not that the people that know, I mean the people that willingly lease me the land. You understand? Them, by any way, not ever go see all them people here, or write to them people here, even for say, yeah, Lord, see, don't say, this land, now I get a lot taken from. No, you don't go there, I don't go around the chiefdoms. The people that don't talk to me say, the land is free. Me don't go and obtain a lease. What do you want for that obtain a lease? You don't tell me. What do you want? You don't come and attack me, yeah, for say, you know, I don't obtain a lease. They say Sierra Leone Mines and Mineral Development and Management Corporation, yeah, and this. Where they may teach to people about that when all this. They went for manage with minerals. Why not be good? Why not be good? Now they for manage and develop with minerals then. Why not be good? As a Sierra Leone, I may not go obtain a list from the rightful landowners then. You understand that? No, me right.
To sign on 17, I beg to lay on the table of this honorable house a petition on behalf of the people, landowners and traditional authorities of Dansoria, Sambaya and the Yang Kingdoms in Tonkolili and Gento districts. Mr. Speaker, members, my name is Pamapisi Alhaji Musa Bankafuri Liyawarito of Sambaya Chiefdom Tonkolili district. I rise today in my capacity as Parliamentary Member of Parliament from Tonkolili district and the lay petitioner in the matter before us, to formally present the prayers contained in the public petition duly submitted to the office of the clerk in accordance with Standing Order 17 and the dictates of the rules of procedures. This petition is supported by a cross-section of concerned citizens and rightful landowners of Dansoria, Sambaya and Chiefdom, where Kasafoni is, and Yang Chiefs, is rooted in the constitutional right afforded the people to express grievances and seek redress through their elected representatives. Mr. Speaker, members, the prayers in the petition are as follows. 1. That Parliament and the government of Sierra Leone accept, recognize, and respect the collective and unanimous resolve of the people and tribal authorities of Dansoria, Sambaya, and Yang Chiefdoms to enter into a valid lease agreement with Gento Group of Companies. 2. That Parliament record and be admissible declare null and void the Sierra Leone Mines and Mineral Development and Management Corporation in brackets allocated minerals and mineral related assets regulations 2024 Secretary Instrument number 11 of 2024. 3. That portion to Standing Order 17 and 75A the Public Petitions Committee investigates the SLMNDMC's engagement with landowners. 4. That Parliament convenes a special hearing involving stakeholders and community members regarding the question from the iron ore import. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, in presenting these prayers, I urge this House not to view this petition as a motion against the government, but rather as an opportunity to demonstrate our collective resolve in addressing our respective children's concerns through legitimate, lawful, and democratic means. I respectfully submit this petition for the consideration and pray that the House acts with wisdom, fairness, and urgency on the matter as presented before the House. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I beg to lay the petition on the table of the House for the consideration of Public Petitions Committee. I thank you, Mr. Speaker. No minutes.
All right, Mr. Menga.
Okay. Family, I must apologize for the second video. We're not clear. Well, if I can reiterate what's in our apple, let's break and down. Here we have a land, which according to the paramount chief, they are owners of the land. Gento enter into a lease agreement with Gento Group of Companies. And according to Gento, they don't give that agreement, they don't give Gento 25 years lease. And there, later on, we get a press release from the government. So you get an agency, a government agency, we say the Sierra Leone Mines and Mineral Development Corporation. We now then get ownership of that land. And through waiting and create, where the government also creates another layer, we then call the Mineral Wealth Development Fund. Don't go sign an agreement with the Chinese. Again, these agreements are subject to parliamentary approval. So you don't go sign an agreement where involve money, and that money there again, it's a form of a loan. Because you said that they give advance money for develop the mine and everything, and our government go own it according to China. But again, it go back to what I mentioned. Section 116 of the Constitution says no loan shall be raised by the government on behalf of itself or any public agency or authority. In this case, this SLMDC and the Mineral Wealth Fund, they are public agency. So if government be one come, they don't just can announce without parliament not looking to them. Okay, now look at waiting the people that own the land don't do. Then do a public petition. According to the system of parliament, public petition is a process where allows citizens to submit petition to parliament of right to petition. That is Constitution of Sierra Leone guarantees citizens the right to petition parliament or the other. Well, the petition process can be submitted in writing to the Speaker of Parliament or the relevant government ministry and should clearly state the issue. Petitions are considered by Parliament or the relevant government agency which may not respond in action. Then you get public participation. The petition allows the process. So what you then do, then get people that will sign. So the issue here what they talk about, again, it comes back to this issue. One, how does government enter into agreement with a foreign partner for investment? Two, issue to deal with local content. According to Gento, is a local company. You don't go and get a lease. Three, issues of ownership of land. Four, parliamentary involvement in issues to do with treaties, agreements with a foreign body. So in another just sign them, then you sidestep a local investor, or in a way, you go against your under Section 72 of the Land Commission Act, which say all communal land and natural resources shall belong to the community. So now me on summary then they like go over to you, Mr. Chilon. What you make of what I don't say in the video. Though further government continue because there's another issue again where the same government go sign an agreement with a Russian company giving with territorial waters for them to fish. We will talk about that again. All linker agreement here. Who does it benefit? Over to you, sir.
All right. I mean, one can clearly see what is happening here. Now, there's one or two things I don't seem to understand because Mr. Gento Camara, he say the government put out a notice when released to him. Well, it's a public notice when released to him. I'm not sure if it's public notice, it's released to everybody. That way he come across. Or did they send him the notice personally for make you see him? I've just one clarification. If Mr. Gento or in lawyer and they listen, or it's a public notice was released to him, I'm not sure that's what he meant. Because in a public notice, he released to the public. Now, based upon what Mr. Mengot they say, this is the lawlessness of a system of a government. There are laws requiring the government, before even stepping into some of them things here, forget the consent and the consultation and with parliament. They skip that. They take advance. So, for example, this Mineral Wealth Development Fund, the way it sounds doesn't seem to be the way they operate. Because the development fund itself is okay. We could just take that for be an account where money derived from minerals by the government, they're going at this fund. But what it seems like they engage themselves some kind of power where they forget exclusivity to certain lands. Just if one individual, a ministry, the Ministry of Lands, just declare them government land without any evidence going back. So community land, the government claims say that they get them. Well, that doesn't sound right. Communal land are communal land. Okay? Not to government, not to now the local government, which can be called a government land, community land, it can be because local government involve district government, it involve and chiefdom government, it involve even local town government. So, because all they can get communal land. If the law isn't clear as to what communal land means, so maybe they need to go back to make the definition of what a communal land is. But the law does not say anywhere that any communal land belongs to the government, the central government, because the central government they claim this power. You know, and then they collect money in advance. And Mr. Mengo just talk about Section 72, which requires certain steps to be taken by the government before they even go into any treaty or agreement with any company, let alone a foreign company. So now where money has been advanced by this so-called Chinese government who want for big, who say there's a conflict with Mr. Gento Camara, it's clear by implication that some money has been taken that will be shared among certain people, so it's not beneficial to the country anyway. And by law, so me your suggestion again, as a lawyer, Mr. Gento need for putting lawyers them to work. And they tell the lawyer in Sierra Leone, go when try for learn the practice of injunctive relief. Get the court involved. If you go, the court not do anything, at least you did something. You know with any rights. The petition where they chip them, then the petition, that name prescribed by Parliament right now. But the question to me would be adequacy. If the remedy adequate, so if the people in petition, knowing the kinds of Parliament will get, and knowing how they may not be dedicated in doing the right thing, so do they want to leave the ultimate outcome in the hands of Parliament, or should there be a court proceedings? The trouble that I see, if we are left in the hands of Parliament and the Parliament get for decide by the trend of things, say then go end up saying, oh, the government get the power for take communal land as central government the land. Then you are blocked. You can't go to court. You can, but I think it does make it difficult. So my suggestion would be then get for ponder. If they should just start for get injunctive relief, then of course if they say they for file a petition, do the petition, do it simultaneously. There is nothing that says if you don't file your petition, you can't pursue legal action. And this is why we also tell people and why it's important for the courts to be independent. Because as long as the president or the executive get power over judges' salary, judges' tenure, and all this kind of thing, we're not going to ever get justice in that country there, because you are dealing with fellow human beings. Not to angels, they want to deal with. Now make the laws need to be written clearly. You see, because most judges, then go see the injustice, but they're not going to step forward, but then go lose their job, or then go lose their privileges, so then go give rights to the party who were wrong. But what you all need for understand, as I don't emphasize many times, the purpose of a constitution is to spell out limitations on the power of the government. Now the purpose that
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
For I get the act for the purpose of our people. You talk something, we talk about definition of communal land. So because in the law, when they get interpretation, I go interpret what they say about communal land now. What in a communal land? Communal land or community land, according to the law, owned and managed by a community and include wetlands, forests, grazing land, market areas, sacred site, graveyards. Then it go on for defined community. Community means any settlement of people in a village, chiefdom, town, or city. So communal land. And it talk about customary law. So these are definitions in the act. We talk about communal land. We define private land. Private land now land vested in and owned by a community in the provinces, a family, an individual, group of individual or other legal entity. Then next, now look at public land, means land reserved, held or used by the government, local council or community for public purposes. And that includes forest reserves, community forests, national park, road reserves. That's it. So I hope say I don't make that clarification there. So you see there's a difference between communal land, right? And when you talk about government land, you talk mostly about forest reserve. You not talk about community land where government can just get exclusive ownership. This is direct from the Land Commission Act 2022. So by that definition of communal land, the land in question, according to my own view, is not owned by government. So over to you, sir. I don't get the clarification.
I tend to agree with you. I think this is an overreach by the government. And I think it's an overreach by the government. We say by the government only because it may be the conscious decision of the minister or the permanent secretary or a few people at the Ministry of Lands. And we cannot run a country based upon how these guys feel. They should be controlled and governed by laws. So I tend to agree with you. So they're not going to just take money from a foreign or even local agency for a land that is already prescribed or described as communal or community land, just because you get mineral wealth. And then you get even what you could call conflict of laws, because even as much as they encourage these people to go to court, you begin to wonder which law, would I get original jurisdiction in terms of the power for adjudicate the right or wrong of the respective or parties. Then, meaning, should it be the local courts? I don't know how much jurisdiction the local courts then get, or is this one case, or is this a situation where original jurisdiction for purposes of this kind of controversy vest in the high courts? So there are rules for the lawyers and say for figure out and make sure say they implement or then put in case in the proper court and then go lost power and jurisdiction by bringing it at the wrong forum. And normally the court also should be mindful of the fact that even if it is brought to the wrong court, if the matter is being dismissed on technical grounds, that it not be dismissed with prejudice, meaning it should be dismissed without prejudice so the people will get an opportunity to come back to the court and hammer out that difference there. Unless we get into the practice of challenging arbitrary use of power by state officials, this will continue. People's land or the Gento kinds them, and Gento is no ordinary guy, but you see, this is the trouble with the talk. He's no ordinary guy, but you see how now they want to use power, and so then the person way to use this power against and as an ordinary man at the ministry. Where, so why can't we all agree on getting laws will protect everybody and take away, like I say, constitutional power that are mentioned in the Constitution of limitations on the government? Activities by individuals are governed by statutes, what we now call acts. You see, so any provision now the Constitution where they talk about what you and me can do is not properly a constitutional prerogative of the Constitution. It should be something that is legislatively passed. And I don't make clear over and over that Parliament is not above the law. So they shouldn't be scaring people that, even when they talk about act, this act, that act, even this section 72, Mr. Mengot, the talk about. The law has a need for study and see if it meets constitutional muster. If not, take issue with the law. Don't wait until they begin to put it into effect. Take issue with the law on grounds that Parliament go above their power. They didn't have the power to pass a certain law. It's in violation of certain section in the Constitution. Unless we begin to understand the supremacy of the Constitution, that it is the law of the land and all laws passed by Parliament or local government, local council should meet the requirements of the Constitution, we will keep getting this. And the worst thing is these things are not being challenged. They will just let that go. Now you see Mr. Gento, whose rights, in contractual right at the very least, is being taken away by just government. We not seem to forget the power to do so. So again, unless we begin to make ourselves, not only call ourselves a country of laws, but a country who will practice the rule of law, it will affect everybody. And this is one controversy. The poor man now, go bother him. You not get money for go lease no land, for mine minerals. So you will get wealth now, and it's particularly hurtful where you and I, indigenous Sierra Leonean, you could be bypassed by we own government because maybe the money we do not take from a foreign government, you know, go give them. So this is the cruelty of us in trying to govern. Even when you show the ability, even when you want to go into a business or go hire people. Because if you not do certain things, certain times, then go try to undermine you and give it to somebody. And I feel terrible even when I talk about foreigners, because here am I, even though I'm a citizen of this country, but I consider myself a foreigner. But for the grace, for their own grace, I could be called foreigners till the day I die. So we get to look how them people are not receiving in their own country, how some of who don't progress, how some of who in fact coming from different continents have become cabinet members, na England, na different countries, na Canada. So we not look the examples in there. We just want to take power and abuse them and bring ourselves backwards. So me urge the people them, this Gento example and the chief example is a good example for let people know say, if you not stand up against government overreach, you or your loved ones might become victim of that, as far as I know. Let me read one comment, then I go pass over to Mr. As I previously asked on this program as to the role of the Law Society, I once more ask, is the Law Society a civil rights advocate? If so, what is their role in advocating for these disadvantaged landowners? Well, I know because they are just a professional organization. I don't know what they have described their roles to be. But besides the Law Society, I think this is incumbent on the Sierra Leone Bar Association, on all lawyers. If you know what it means for the law or the profession to be called a noble profession, this is what it calls for. It's time for lawyers and for rise up and represent the poor people who are being trampled over, na Black Johnson. And then I will see Mr. Gento, who is not a poor man, is being trampled over too, you know, and then the chiefs them, the provinces. So you see, it's going, and we want to do nothing, it just give the government more power for spread the tentacles. So when I understand how this works, so no wait till it come to you before you want to do anything, then you'll be too late. So, but we see the example now where with the government overreach, they reach the gentry, the poor, and it discourages people away one kind of investment. You can't be talking about investment, and then when they undermine the foundation of Sierra Leoneans, then we love the country enough for put all the wealth at the country, then when I want to undermine them as against a foreign company. You know, if we try for talk about the fish harbor, they need to be more clear in terms of what is this fish harbor going to do for people, the employment, the environment, the ecology. There are a lot of things they need for tell people. I don't think it's fair for just treat people with the utmost contempt. Just say, because I listen to the minister. Oh, without telling them what you will do. So when I for wait till we do them. No, the people don't get the right for question on that. You know, this mentality of some of our brothers and sisters them in government is appalling, is disappointing, is hurtful, is shameful. You shouldn't treat the people like that. That's not fair. Let me read one more comment. I will go back to Mr. Mengot. The government business on land is for revenue collection, but has no power to demolish any private land without compensation in agreement with the landlord, unless if the land is being used for illegal act. But even if the land is being used for illegal act, you know, again, you see, people don't understand. It is not a bureaucrat who will talk about demolishing. Court, we should have consistency. Go obtain order from the court by presenting cogent and convincing evidence that that piece of property is being used for the purposes of promoting, harmful activities to the community. And if it is convincing to the judge, then an order is issued. But if we left unto every government officials, then it's risky. This is risky business. Executive branch is too powerful in Sierra Leone. It's like an authoritarian regime. Well, that's the way it is. These are the challenges from democracy. Executive branch, they always try to grab onto some power, and we own parliamentarians and don't know that. But let me go back to Mr. Mengot. This is what I have to say.
Thank you very much. To round up this, I will commend the Paramount Chief who raised this issue in Parliament. Because for the first time in the history of the Parliament, I'm not aware of any time where a public petition of this nature has been presented to Parliament, and Parliament get for debate am. But to round up, we are always, for me, I always try for profile solutions. Because somebody say families are part of the community. Yes, we agree. Now make sure they talk about family land. Family land is distinct from community land, right? Family by the community in the land. So somebody said the magma that's boiling between the ordinary people and the petition, when it rupture, will be more volatile than that of a volcano. We have to be careful with the reaction of the disgruntled poor. So let me see the solution. With this petition, I was saying that normally in Parliament, we get the Public Petitions Committee. And I know say a case like this could be handled by just that committee alone. And the reason why we take this now because according to our parliamentary rules and procedure, we will select committee because they get provision. This should be made from the public because the public. It should also be people from the Mines Committee, the committee where they supervise the Ministry of Mines, because all these sovereign wealth funds, when they talk about, and all the people them will deal with issues to do with the fight. Because it talk about, so I would expect three issues to come out of this investigation. One, Parliament for now use this as a test case for determining ownership and for waiting at the basis of ownership and the community land. That to be clear because the law, as you see, is very, very clear. So that's one thing that can say, who that right is done over community land. Because if now the community get jurisdiction and government get for them, government will go sign a treaty on their behalf without authorization. And it is not the law. Next, we get for look here because we get so many times where people negotiate agreement, they can't let Parliament overstamp them. Why not be the other way around? Present the agreement to Parliament first. Parliament scrutinize, amend, and if they agree, they go do and bring and come back. And Parliament.
If I may interrupt you, Mr. Mengot, so why not be the other way around? It seems like they have an option. But doesn't the law require that it should be the other way around? That is,
it should be the other way around.
That's what goes. We say why not be the other way around? It looks like they have an option, but they don't. But they're just breaking the law.
We talk about loan because if you do Section 116 of the Constitution, no loan shall be raised by government on behalf of itself or any public institution other than by under the authority or act of Parliament. You understand? So waiting in a loan. So we'll see the terms of let's see the terms of reference for investigate this matter. And I would like for see then three things that come out clearly. Somebody is specific to us at going to court. I will refer to the commentator on the recent Supreme Court ruling of the case between T. Pratt versus Stuart, Tennessee. We should not always be deep to court, but have to challenge the authorities. Yes, I'm glad the way this person mentioned. So if somebody don't go court and they determine that the same area, how come, like what my colleagues say, they not put an injunction into further demolition until things are done the right way? So we don't do a lot of things when they talk about this treaty. Yes, it's true. Paramount chief are guardians and not owners of the land in Sierra Leone. Yes, they are guardians and not owners of the land. But then land they under the custody Mr. Sheila, can you hear
I'm
me?
sorry, sir. I'm sorry. I just want to interject. Can you hear me now? Okay.
Yeah.
When somebody says paramount chiefs are not owners, they are guardians of the land, what do you understand them to be saying? Because we are saying exactly that. That's what you're saying, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So why is somebody calling just saying that? Which is point we the type of make?
And if they are guardians of the land, anybody who want to do anything of that, therefore consult the paramount chief. So you don't answer a question.
Yeah.
You don't answer a question. So if they are guardians of the land, they're not owners. Now make sure Gento go to them for a lease agreement. Now then game. You understand? So the paramount chiefs themselves, they say, well, even if government been saying then get jurisdiction over that land, they could not go and enter into an agreement with a Chinese company without coming back to us. That's the reality. And all enter with the CISO is very interesting because we get one more treaty where government just signed or where they agree, we want to bring to the notice of we people them, where again, somebody said the majority of Sierra Leoneans don't know the constitution, and that goes for both illiterate and illiterate. To those in the know, take advantage. That is why people like us are here, and we want to be challenged. So given the time, there's another trend in news. Okay, another comment. Gento was part of the problem we are facing in Sierra Leone. He's part of the power per voice. Well, we don't know about that. And we don't subscribe to
if I may interject. So it's a good lesson. That's why even if you're a pauper boy, you should learn to see, call white, white, call black, black. Don't say black is white, white is black, because you may become a victim. So this is a perfect example. If he was one of the pauper boys, now he's beginning to see you don't put your hands in the fire, it will burn you. That's why they should come up with laws that are fair for everybody. I'm glad somebody is citing this. If it can happen to him, well, who else can't it happen to? So sorry, Mr. Mengot, I'm sorry for the interruption.
Okay, let me say a similar agreement. This fisheries agreement.
Yeah,
as
with
we
Russia.
Know, we will come off freedom or within our west coast. Fish now one of our main diets. We get for them and they listen them for different soup them. Chinos, where you can use for granite soup. You get bonga, langamina, you get small mina, you get cowrie, you get kit pork soup, you get the giant of all fish, when akuta, yeah. You get boku other fish them, catfish and everything. So recently, the government go sign agreement with Russia. And that agreement then are for a Russian company for operating Sierra Leone, where they call exclusive economic zone. This now not a land matter.
This is ridiculous.
This not a land matter. This now we see now with the give to the Russians.
These people they've lost their minds.
So waiting at the agreement. Annual quota, the Russian fishing company will be granted an annual quota of 40,000 metric tons of fish. Just imagine 40,000 metric tons. Waiting will happen to we local fishermen them. Remember, say the same government and them don't talk, say them buy kunu. We been see where the president been go unveil that kunu na bond. When face not been glad. But talk for another day. Then the number of vessels Sierra Leone is interested in attracting up to 20 Russian vessels. Just imagine 20 Russian vessels to operate within the what you can call the exclusive economic zone. Investment incentive. The agreement includes investment incentive to enhance bilateral collaboration in fisheries and sector. Waiting at that, we don't know. Then joint research. The agreement follows joint marine research conducted by Russia and Sierra Leonean scientists to evaluate the biomass and distribution of small pelagic species. Then a big English. Infrastructure development. Sierra Leone is seeking Russian support in modernizing port infrastructure. So Russia, they modernize port, build about technology, then talk about energy and all that thing.
But they
So,
haven't talked about
here
how
we
many
are now.
employment.
We don't go sign an agreement. We create what we call exclusive economic zone and get to the Russians. Then. Again, this is a violation of things within our constitution and laws.
Exactly. They should. They should. There you go. There you go. Go ahead. No, I was just. No, I'm sorry, because I get so excited. They're doing it over and over and over. They're signing an agreement instead of Parliament should approve it. Because I'm just going by what you're saying. Shouldn't they have gone to Parliament? Shouldn't this have been something that Parliament has already consulted and agreed to before they even going into an agreement? Am I wrong?
Yeah, you're not wrong. In fact, my own concern is when you call them exclusive.
Yeah. Can you believe that?
Zone. What's in the definition of that exclusive economic zone? In my own view, you can tell me, it's like we're ceding our territorial integrity
and our sovereignty.
And sovereignty to a foreign state.
Yeah.
But the effect on our local fishermen then. Think about what it go cost you because them fish there where they're fishing, not for the local market, now for export. They do processes. The Chinese are doing it now, the Koreans are doing it. So we water on ton competition between the Chinese and the Russians then for exploring the parliamentarians and sit down and they do nothing. This is not the coin them up. Now agreements then wait and day. Over to you. If you get any further, then we can do with one last issue. We're very important.
Oh, I'm just getting excited about again what you can teach me. That is, when they put the cart before the horse, they do everything in reverse. Then they go and sign agreements in secrecy, unbeknown to the public, without any transparency. Then we'll get a parliament now that does nothing but rubber stamping. You know, you go say, I want to pass this. When it should be first in consultation with Parliament, with the approval of Parliament, and then go through the parliamentary procedures for make it into a proper law. And all these things, it's about time the lawyers then begin for challenge. Like this agreement with the talks with the government to challenge. Go to court. It's illegal. They have not followed parliamentary procedure. So it's not good law. Let the court get injunction. Now, if the court want to make a fool of themselves and say lawlessness is the order of the day, let them do so. Let the law say, no, we just have not believe in the law. The law is the president. The law is parliament, whatever. But go to court. I strongly encourage lawyers or any group, the Gento Group, the Parliament chiefs, all the other ones, them make the court a place for go get, even if you don't get confidence in the court, and I understand. But don't skip the court. Because the court gets useful purpose. That's all I'm encouraging people to do. But this is just wrong. 40,000 metric ton. Are we thinking about succeeding generations? How cruel can we be? We're not even think of unborn generation. If we are able to scoop 40,000 tons of fish, Sierra Leone could bet billions of dollars in revenue just for that, for which they could take care of with social ills. Because fishery is like any mineral wealth. If the amount of fisheries we want for give the Russians, then if we can allow ourselves to get the wherewithal for harvest them fish then they and export them ourselves, we will have a revenue in the billions of dollars. I challenge anyone to say it's not true. I mean, so it looks like we've lost our minds. I mean, the greed, the selfishness, the short-sightedness is just running us crazy. But this is wrong. This is wrong. Then you talk about exclusivity. What the exclusivity is another word for keeping Sierra Leoneans out of that zone there. So in your country, if you're a fisherman, then they tell you, say there are areas. Can you imagine the Russians then pass law for, say, Sierra Leoneans and get a place, they get the right for going to start a place where no Russian for go, no Russian? Can you imagine American pass such law? Can you imagine England say, well, you know, Sierra Leone people and get a right, exclusive right to this location. Nobody else in America for go there. This is shameless. It is really shameless. I don't know who these people are who even think of their policies there, then put them into writing, and then get the gall for make that become a law. Don't you think the Russians are laughing at us and say, how stupid can these people be? This is so elementary, you would think they wouldn't go for it, they are falling for it. You know? Come on. And this has nothing to do with APC, SLPP nonsense. It just has to do with cruelty of the mind, that we don't care for our country, we just care for that short term. Because all our politicians would sign NTR. How many more years do they have to live on this earth? But they're not saying for care if they die tomorrow, they're not one for gentry. You know, we see now in Australia when they open club. A club, this entertainment club is being opened where just to get in is $200. Not leons, dollars. Where it will cost over $1,000 for no, but that club did $1,000. So how are people going to be able to afford it? So isn't that an exclusive attempt for keep certain people there? Now, our country down there will be entitled to the pleasure of what it brings us. We're not going to be a Dubai. We're not going to be United Arab Emirates if we keep passing their laws that sell all our wealth to Russia, to China, to this, to that. If we don't know how to manage the wealth, you know, the people that go manage them for their own interests. But again, quick comment. If we, the people, continue keeping quiet, these guys are selling our country by parts for other countries. Maybe true. Sounds like it. But
well, I think so with that comment, let's get the last bunya. And that last bunya there, now one video, one show, we talk about citizenship for sale.
Yep.
And we'll end down there, we'll show that video there, and then we'll get a few comments on that and see, because it's a trend. Let's listen to this video and see how worrying it is for our sovereignty, for our safety, and the nature of our states. So,
hello everyone, Ladislas Maurice of the Wandering Investor. So today we'll be
probably need to restart the video.
Hello everyone, Ladislas Maurice of the Wandering Investor. So today we'll be discussing the Sierra Leone Citizenship by Investment program together with Stephen, who is the program designer and advisor to the Sierra Leonean Immigration Authority. Stephen, how are you?
I'm great, Ladislas. It's great to have this conversation with you. We've been seeking to arrange it for quite some time already.
Indeed, and we are having this call because the first applicants recently received their passports, correct?
Correct, yes. I've just returned from Freetown with a delegation of 13 of us to complete that mission and obviously sort of meet with a whole array of other government ministers and introduce some of our delegation as investors and potential client, well, in fact, future citizens that are ready to commence now that they've had a chance to see that, you know, this thing is absolutely for real.
Exciting. And where are the first new citizens originally from?
From the United States, from a single family office, and he was he's a passport collector. However, he's principally a frontier economy investor. And he told me when the program first launched that he'd been waiting for something like this to come along for quite some time. So yeah, it was a no-brainer for him. He completed his due diligence relatively quickly and said, let's do it. So 13, 14 weeks later, he's in the presence of His Excellency the Vice President receiving his passport. So great stuff, really.
Yeah, exciting. So Stephen, look, it's pretty random starting a citizenship by investment program, at least an official one, because for years there were all these countries kind of selling passports here and there, you know, on the whim of various officials in West Africa. But it's the first official West African CBI that is functioning properly. So how did all of this just come about? How did you make it happen?
Well, I'm an immigration lawyer in Hong Kong. I've been doing what I do in Hong Kong for 32, 33 years now. Become highly specialist in one jurisdiction, inbound to Hong Kong. And as you can appreciate, immigration is principally boring stuff. It doesn't exactly set clients alight when they're thinking about how you go about attaining any kind of residency consents. So it has meant down the years that I've been very creative in my approach. So in my Hong Kong inbound practice, and there's about 40 of us altogether, we're the biggest single practice in Hong Kong inbound. We have a website platform, 4 different websites, cover every aspect of Hong Kong immigration. Been very creative in the use of video right from the very get-go, application of technology, AI recently, and the rest of it. So basically, I have a reputation in sort of immigration circles, immigration law circles anyway, for being creative in a small single jurisdiction. And through a chain of relationships that I have in West Africa, I was basically invited in to make a presentation to the Sierra Leone Immigration Department, who wanted to understand how they could actually begin to harness their immigration legislation and indeed their wider institutions for the benefit of the country. Problem that Sierra Leone has, and all the ministers that I've spoken to have all confirmed this, that things have to change. They realize things have to change, but the difficulty has always been as a result of Leonardo DiCaprio. Because when he released that movie, Blood Diamonds, the reputation for Sierra Leone was unfortunately, misset. And so most people, when they think about Sierra Leone, straight away they think, oh, that movie, don't want anything to do with that. But actually, the country is nothing like that anymore. The civil war is long over. They've had 2 transfers of political parties over the course of a series of elections that have been, properly administered and organised. Democracy is very entrenched. And the country is on the march, but it needs to attract direct foreign investment. And they don't have a lot of available resources sort of at their immediate disposal, even though the country is very, very wealthy from a natural resources perspective. It just, they can't get the stuff out of the ground. So they were looking to seek to use their immigration legislation to empower new citizen stakeholders to come and engage in investment. And they gave me a brief that said, look, can you come up with something unique, interesting and remarkable? And so I said, yeah. I said, the first point to make about Sierra Leone is if you think that the modern Sierra Leone is the Sierra Leone of blood diamonds, then naturally you'd conclude today that the modern Cambodia is the Cambodia of the killing fields. Clearly, the mental models are all need adjusting, and that has certainly proven to be the case as I've had the opportunity to sort of take this story to market. Sort of looking at what was going on in Kigali, and they thought, well, if Rwanda can come back from a genocide and through the right kind of leadership, they can produce kind of like a city that was something akin to where Dubai was 15 years ago, then why not Sierra Leone? So that was the genesis of the discussions, and I was able to bring creativity into play. And thankfully, these people are very smart, and they said, this makes sense to us, let's do it. So lo and behold, I found myself for the very first time leaving the remit of Hong Kong immigration and in Sierra Leone, which 2 years ago was something that I never anticipated. But here we are.
Yeah, I mean, it's a no-brainer for the country. The country essentially gets free money, free publicity, and a bunch of high net worth ambassadors, really, and ambassadors for the country all over the world. That some of them will actually invest and do business in Sierra Leone and help to develop the country beyond the donation that they made. So can you just give us a quick rundown of the actual program?
Yeah, so essentially it's special naturalization. It's completed in 90 days. It's $140,000 donation for a single applicant. It's $10,000 per accompanying family applicant. So the program all hinges off the back of robust due diligence, and the administration of the program is designed to be simple on the basis that if you can get through due diligence, why make the paperwork, administratively burdensome for applicants? Why throw logs at the feet of these intending, new citizen stakeholders? That allows us to truncate the processing time down to 90 days. In designing the program, I looked at what was going on elsewhere in all the CBI and RBI spaces and realized that in many ways the tail was wagging the dog. When it comes to, the preparation and the workup of the files, I said to the country, look, if you want to attract investors, why get in their way? Make it happen for them. As long as the due diligence is good, then everything else will fall into place. So because this is not a mass program, we're not expecting 100,000 families. Our initial target is 6,000. We can only absorb so much new foreign direct investment in an organized fashion. So the numbers we've put together make sense for the country, make sense for us as, the administrator of the program, and make sense for the market because, as I say, it's not mass market. It's not going to compete with all the usual suspects. There's some enhancements to be had in terms of the passport itself. It will, in due course, be upgraded. When the upgrade in the technology of the passport comes into play, there'll be another 20-odd countries that come, visa-free straight away. So it's small baby incremental steps, and the early foray into the marketplace has proven that, the product is being very well received.
And who's the target market for this program? Because for example, when I posted about this program on social media, I got so much hate for it. I think it's a great option. I understand who the target market is, but I want to hear it from you.
People who are seriously looking for a safe way to invest in the Africa story. That's what it boils down to. Those folks who also want access to ECOWAS as well. I always say you get 15 countries for the price of one. You get 90 days visa-free access to all ECOWAS countries. And because of the nascent state of the residency laws in each of the jurisdictions that make up ECOWAS and the ECOWAS treaty, the economic contribution that one needs to make to get your residency permissions is at this time limited to the cost of basically paying the application fee, which is in some countries 30 or 40 US dollars. In the case of Cape Verde, which is obviously a lovely place to be, it's only about 400 US dollars. So it's very small money all told. So literally you get 15 countries for the price of one.
Yeah, easy access to ECOWAS. Having lived in Ghana for a few years and traveled quite a lot in West Africa, I can tell you, as a Westerner, going around trying to get visas in these countries is a pain. Do not make it easy. A lot of the countries do not have online visa facilities. You have to go to embassies, and they're really not pleasant to deal with. So for people that have a lot of business activities in West Africa, this is actually a total no-brainer.
And the truth is, it's a frontier economy, and everything's investable. Yeah. You put your money into something, you're absolutely going to get a great return on that investment. And
or lose it all.
It doesn't have to be all the usual suspect real estate, opportunities. Obviously, those are lying on the ground to be picked up, though. But fundamentally, you can put money into anything in the country because it's massively underinvested, and you'll do very well out of it. Fortune favors the brave.
Yeah, you need to be brave, and you need to be on the ground a lot. They're frontier markets. They're pretty hard operationally speaking, but yeah, a lot of opportunities, that's for sure. Does this citizenship go down the generations for people who acquire it through investment?
Yes, it does.
So let's say I become a citizen of Sierra Leone, I make the donation, and then I have my child with a non-Sierra Leonean outside of Sierra Leone, let's say in Mexico. I recently had a kid in Mexico. Could I then register this child at the nearest Sierra Leonean High Commission or embassy or back in Sierra Leone and get that essentially white kid a Sierra Leonean citizenship?
Yes, you can. There's only one class of citizenship.
Is there a limit in terms of generations?
Not to my understanding, no. There's nothing in the Citizenship Act that serves to that end.
Some countries, for example, in Latin America, make a difference between someone who was naturally born and someone who acquired the citizenship. And then after a few generations, the citizenship disappears. But yes, in Sierra Leonean law, there's absolutely no distinction. And unlike a lot of the Caribbean citizenships where it is capped in terms of generations, and there are fees each time.
I think it's also worth pointing out that, it's a British common law jurisdiction. The judges and the lawyers wear wigs in court. The Privy Council is ultimately the final arbiter as to, how Sierra Leone law works. It's very subject to the rule of law. And because they had such a torrid time in the Civil War, which was actually a spillover from Liberia, where the men with guns came to take control of all the natural resources. Organically, the sort of tribes and the peoples that make up Sierra Leone have never been sort of, at each other's throats. So they've learned to live peacefully historically in the African context, and they've understood how the social fabric of a country can be torn apart by civil war. So they are committed to doing things by the book, because they know doing it by the book is far better than the chaos that results from not having the rule of law.
And you organize tours to Sierra Leone for prospective applicants who want to go to Sierra Leone, check out the country for themselves, meet some of the officials, correct?
Yeah, so we have a integral part of the program is the Go for Gold Club. The Go for Gold Club is designed to provide all the support that new citizen stakeholders need if they're going to come and actually take advantage of the citizenship and invest in the country. Part and parcel of that initiative is to create the opportunity for intending citizen stakeholders to come and, in a sense, kick the tires in advance just to see for themselves what it's all about. So we've just, as I say, completed our first delegation, which was massively successful, exceeded my expectations beyond all measure. I can tell you that there's discussions about privatisation of state assets afoot. There's talks about repurposing the old airport terminal building. There's talks about bringing a new delegation in towards the end of this year to look at funding the bridge from the airport to the main city.
That's needed.
Yeah, indeed, very much so. So yeah, the Go for Gold Club creates the environment for sensible investors to get the confidence that they need to be able to invest in the country and allow the country to achieve its national development objectives. So yeah, I think the next one, as I said, is October, November, still in the pipeline.
Okay. And can you tell us about the heritage option, which is only $100,000 as opposed to $140,000?
Yeah, essentially, if you can demonstrate that you go back 5 generations African heritage, continental Africa, you get a $40,000 discount on your donation quantum. DNA test, African ancestry test. It's the same test that the country's been using under their Ancestral Roots program for the last few years.
Who's the target market for this option?
Principally continental Africans. The ancestral descendants chain of causation connection down through the DNA sequence would obviously anticipate anybody that can go back 5 generations. So African Americans are obviously a big prospect pool of candidates for citizenship in Sierra Leone via that route. But we're not targeting that market per se. We've put it out there to say, look, you know, if you've got African ancestry, you're welcome. Come and bring your ancestry and get it settled in Sierra Leone and help Sierra Leone achieve its objectives.
Cool. Look, this is really fascinating. This is an exciting program. I'm happy to see such initiatives in Africa, having spent most of my 20s there. This is absolutely a program that I would consider for myself. And look, is it something that I would use now? No, but it would be something that I would be happy to give to my children, knowing that just by making a $140,000 donation now, essentially all my future generations, as long as they file the paperwork each time someone's born, will have essentially unfettered access to West Africa and to the growth story in West Africa. In a world of declining demographics everywhere, Africa is an exception. Will this be an interesting call option to have for my descendants in 50 years, in 100 years, to say, hey, we can go do business in West Africa easily as opposed to everyone else? I think it is.
One of our first investor clients who's in the pipeline now has bought the citizenship for that exact reason. His lovely wife is due to have a baby after the naturalization process is complete, and this is his gift to his unborn child.
Exciting. Great. At The Wandering Investor, we're official agents of the Sierra Leone Citizenship by Investment program. So if you want to find out more information, there's a link below in the description. Literally, it's the most complete FAQ and information toolkit there is. And then feel free to get in touch with us if you have more questions, and we can help you process your application from A to Z. And you can pay directly through bank transfers, or crypto is also accepted. Stephen, thank you very much for your time today. Really appreciate it.
Great stuff. See you soon.
All right, Mr. Mengo.
A mouthful. I think if the control room complete the picture, I think say this don't catch the attention of Parliament, and the leader of opposition don't call for a debate where they not agree. For me, I think this issue, opposition leader demands suspension of controversial investment basis. Yes. For me, always I look at laws, because we can get the Citizenship Act 1971, which defined who that for be citizen. Then that was amended, dual citizenship. But for me, my concern is, you cannot do these things without amending the Constitution. And anything will go against the Constitution not get anything for citizenship by investment. I would say here, with all, unless I'm corrected by law, it is a treasonous action. It is a treasonous action. It should not allow to be happen. $140,000, and it's also it is passed down to generation. I think this is thing where the old Sierra Leoneans they forget an outcast. Think about the kind of people that we attract. Think about with sovereignty. Nationality for sale, I leave it as that. We want people let them continue for contact with. The more I say, the better it is. I will keep watch. I will listen to the debates when they get a parliament, and we will bring them back and discuss in detail what see what two lawmakers in get for say. But in my own view, personally, it violates the Constitution and it's treasonous. You cannot grant citizenship through finance or commerce. Because remember, the man just they pay 140,000. You say an investment. Where is that money going? They
That's
talk about
the question.
cryptocurrency. Who
That's
collects
the
that money? Who is in charge? So
Yeah.
these are the issue. There are more questions than answers. I think that's all I have to say on this. Unless you want to say more, we don't stretch with people them. So it's up to you now
yeah,
to say
but-
anything because goodbye.
Well, for sure. The only thing is the whole thing is so perplexing. I don't know where to start. I don't know where to end. We'll run out of time. But when you talk about this investment, then they talk, God, listen to these guys. They're talking about contribution. Contribution to what? If people are going to be citizen by just passport sale, shouldn't we know what in fact they have in mind to invest in? So you come, you give $140,000. You call yourself an investor. So then what else? Where does the money go? How does that help the country? And I like to give a practical example because there's not enough time, so I don't want to get too detailed. When we've passed their laws there, we have to take into account that there are many highly populated countries. Okay, let's start off within the region, as a matter of fact, from Nigeria. Suppose a group of Nigerians just decide, say, okay, there's opportunity in Sierra Leone and get all the diamonds here, and get gold, and get fish, and get this and that. Let we put Osusu, let 100 of us start, then we will bring, we will generate enough money for bring another 1,000, then another from 1,000 to 10,000. So all it takes now 140,000. You can populate a country with this kind of amount very easily, particularly for a country like China or India. You can get plane loads and planes load of people from India and China to arrive in Sierra Leone every day and be able to provide $140,000 and then just come in and pay them dues. Because it doesn't seem like you have to tell what you invest in. Now I could see them to specify, like say agriculture. It could develop with commercial agricultural area what will make we successful. We're not talking about that. I don't see any specificity in terms of where to invest. But again, I don't want to drag this on because we're almost out of time. We can take this subject and some more next time because we're way past time and we started on time. So until then, let me just stop right here and say, and thank you for all our to all our listeners. I don't think that there are any callers. If there are any, let's know before we wrap up. If some of the callers have hung up, sorry, we got long-winded. We will answer their questions next time. Until then, good night to everyone. I'm glad for listening. Thank you for listening.
Well, last word for me. Thank you very much. And we wish you all a very fruitful week, accident-free, and make sure everything go well until we meet next week. Ta-ta.